All right, guys, let's take a closer look at the new Traska release. This is the Venturer in the GMT configuration. I chose the green dial. Very good looking green dial, I think. There's a few other colorways to choose from as well. I'll put a link down below in the description for you to click and take you right to the website so you can check it out for yourself. Let's get into the specs on this thing, and we'll go from there. So on the website, it says 38.5 millimeter. I keep measuring it every time at 38.8, but close enough. So I measure 38.8 millimeter wide. Lug to lug is a nice short 46.15. You have drilled lugs. And you're going to notice right away that massive boxed and domed sapphire crystal sitting very proud of the polished bezel. If we can get this thing to kind of focus. And that, even with that, the thickness is still only 12.75 millimeter. Like I said, a lot of that's that boxed crystal, so it is a pretty thin watch overall. 20 millimeter lug width, and the bracelet tapers down really nice to 16 mil. A little bit of fancy work there on the inner of the clasp. And then you have 5 micro adjust, double post, security lock. Nice screwed in case back. Bracelet also folds in on itself. It's all individual pieces, so it aids in the comfort, and it folds over instantly onto the case back. So extremely comfortable on smaller wrist than any wrist, in fact. 6.5 millimeter screw down crown, keeping the 150 meter water resist. This crown over here, or the wart, as some people might call it, does not screw down, but it operates the inner rotating 24-hour bezel, so you can keep track of an additional time zone. And those are color matched, or at least in this one it is. Inside this is what a lot of people are going to be excited about, and this is the first watch that I've handled with the new 9075 Miyota movement, which has the jumping hour feature, and I'll show you that here in a moment. You have hand-applied indices with BGW9 Lume. You have diamond-cut handsets, so they're really nicely finished. Also with BGW9, you have a date at the 6 o'clock, white wheel with black printing, and that dial is lacquered. That is a lacquer dial. So very shiny, very well done. Nice printing on there as well. The extra coating on this watch brings the scratch resistance up to 1200 Vickers versus, say, like the 200 Vickers scratch resistance that a standard 316 stainless steel might have. This one has an additional coating which brings that scratch resistance up even more. Will it scratch? Sure, it might, but it's definitely going to be harder to do it. Price point on this, $695. Case back also is individually numbered. There's some information there. I removed a couple of links to get this to fit my wrist. And the screw pins for this thing are some of the best sized and clean threads. And they even have a collared top part of the screw, so it sets in perfectly. So if you unscrew the crown, you got a nice winding there if you want to wind it up to get it started. Of course, first position out, you can jump the hour hand forward or backward. This is a Traveler's GMT. Kind of clicks going forward, and you don't feel it as much going in the reverse direction. And that is also how you change the date. You just notice that click over. So if you pop it all the way out, it hacks the movement, stopping the seconds hand, and that's how you would set your time for the GMT, the second hand, if you wanted to do that. Like so, if you wanted to get them all lined up and then adjust from there, you could do that. So depending on how you want to use this watch, you have multiple options. That is up to the user. Zoom back out. Of course, when you're screwing in crowns, just a little tip, back screw that crown so it drops into the threads, then push in and thread the crown in. That way you don't mess up the threads. Let's pop this on my 7 1/4 inch wrist so you can see what that looks like. Looks, feels, wears great. Very comfortable on wrist. And I'm a big fan of this green dial. Now, typically with Traska, I would normally gravitate towards like a mint dial. He didn't do a mint dial in this particular watch. So I picked this dark green, this woodland green is what it's called. And I don't have any other watches with this dial color. So very excited to add this into the watch library. Let me know what you think. What color would you pick? Let's give this a quick blast with the UV light so we can get the full effect when we kill the lights. And check out the Lume. So there you go. You have a nice application of BGW9. And once my eyes adjust to the low light, I can actually, yeah, you guys can see it clearly in the camera. But that inner chapter ring that rotates around is actually lumed as well. It's a little harder to see with a naked eye, but my eyes are adjusting. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.